of the number one things I hear from booktubers is, I'm in a reading slump. I'm here today to do a video about how to avoid and or get out of a reading slump. These are just things that I've thought of, that I do, that I probably should do more. They may work for you, they may not. It just really depends. You might as well try one of them and see if it helps. Number one, just don't read anymore. Just move to Mexico and start a guacamole farm. Number two, read smaller books. And I'm not saying forever. I'm not saying for the rest of your life only read novellas. Like, I don't know about you, but this versus this makes all the difference. This is probably the number one thing I do, is whenever I'm not really feeling like reading, I just pick up the smallest thing I have and tell myself, finish this within a day, and then you cannot do anything for the rest of the week. Number three, if you're not really feeling that bookish, is to reread one of your favorite books. And I know rereading things does not really contribute to your Goodreads goal, nor does it cut down on that huge TBR pile you have, but trust me, if you do this, then it's gonna get you back into reading, you're gonna be fangirling, you're gonna be like, yeah, reading is fun, and then you're just gonna keep going, it's gonna raise your spirits, everything's gonna be good. Don't feel bad about rereading something if it means it's going to make you read faster and or better. Plus, all the reasons in the world to reread shatter me. Am I right, folks? Number four, restrict or limit your internet and phone access. This is the number one killer, I think. I lay down in my bed, I pull out my book, I open up the page, and then I pull my phone out and start going on Twitter for 2 hours instead of reading. I'm lucky that my computer screen is broken because it's currently docked to a monitor that's only on my desk, and my desk chair is really uncomfortable, so that's kind of an incentive not to be on the computer 24/7. Whereas my phone, unless it's dead, I could be on that all day. So, my advice to you, go to a different room that doesn't have any technology, turn your phone off, leave it in a different room, throw them out the window. I don't know, maybe you're rich enough to do that. I lost track of what number I'm on, so just the next one. Eliminate distractions in your environment that aren't really pertaining to technology. If you're somewhere that's really loud and you just can't focus, move yourself to somewhere quiet. Obviously, if you're in public, that might not be an option, but if you're in a reading slump and you're in public trying to get yourself to read, then it's not really gonna work out. These are mostly things geared toward when you're alone, when you have time, and you just don't feel like doing it. So if you're in a room where a TV's on, turn it off, go somewhere else. If you're in a room where people are talking, tell them to shut up, go somewhere else. Do you see where I'm going? Likewise, you'll probably read better in a calmer environment versus in a hectic one where people are moving around, things are happening, lights are strobing. For whatever reason, I feel like if you're just somewhere where nothing around you can distract your attention away, then you're gonna work better. But if you're one of those readers that needs noise or movement or something, by all means reverse those, and if you're in a calm environment, go somewhere crazy, and if you're somewhere quiet, go somewhere loud. All the more to you. Just start reading. The next suggestion is to try an audiobook, or something that I do, read out loud to someone. I've never listened to an audiobook. I'm not a very good audio learner. I don't drive, so I don't really have a car to listen to it, and that people always talk about. They're going place to place and just listening to it. So I've never had the excuse to read an audiobook, and sometimes I wish that I had an audiobook because I really want to, like, laying in bed, I don't want to hold something, and it would just be a lot more convenient. So that might be something to try, and like I said, I read out loud to people whenever I don't feel like reading. This is kind of a dorky thing I do, but whenever I have to read for school, I always read out loud because I get really bored by school-assigned books, and if I read them out loud, it forces me to read, and it kind of focuses my attention more on it. My next suggestion is if you're stuck on a particular book that you have to get through either for a readathon or you just am halfway through and you cannot focus your energy on finishing it, go look up a 5-star non-spoiler review of that book and then read the review, and then just kind of gather the excitement that that person had for that book and then translate it into energy to reach the rest of that book. You're welcome. Emphasis on the non-spoiler review because I don't want to send you off into the world reading reviews with spoilers and then I'm the one to blame, and don't do it. My next suggestion, try doing a reading sprint. I recently just found a Twitter page that's dedicated to just doing reading sprints. I will link that down below. I follow them and they do them like 2 or 3 times a day. So if you're ever just not in the mood to read, giving yourself a small allotted time section to being able to read that book is really influential if you think about it. I could sit there for 4 hours and not read just because I know I have all the time in the world to read this. Why would I do it now? But if you put a time limit on it, it's gonna become a competition, and now I'm gonna read that. Especially if you bring your friends into it, it's a competition. You're gonna read more. Just make sure that if you do bring your friends into it and you're all reading for 20 minutes, don't just skim the book. That's no fun. You won't retain the information. Bad idea. My next suggestion is if you're stuck on things to read because you're just limiting yourself to a couple of books, stop. Take anything you want to read, anything from your shelves anywhere, and read that. You do not always have to stick to your strict monthly TBR. Trust me, this will change your life if you stop doing monthly TBRs, because you'll be like, there's so many things I could read. Again, just don't read your TBR books. Read whatever you want. This is your books. You're not going to be criticized for being like, hey, you didn't read that this month. Unless it's like a school book. I don't recommend reading something that's not a school book if you have to read the school book. You're going to get in trouble, you're going to fail the test, bad things will happen. If you have to read a school book and it's putting you in a slump, I know, it sucks. Spark notes. And my last and probably the most important tip, if you're not going to read anything, do it on purpose. Take a break from reading. Some people might disagree with this, but if you're not in the mood and you know you're not going to be able to read anything, don't try. Give yourself a break from books. Don't feel pressured by them. They're your friends. They'll love you back. They're not going to hate you if you say, well, man, I have a job. I have a husband. I don't have time for you right now. They're going to hold your hand and they're going to support you. You don't always have to have a book with you. You don't always have to force yourself to read. If you're not going to read, make it on purpose. No one's going to get angry at you for only reading 1 book per month. So thank you for watching this video, everybody. I know that I posted the title of my notes page on Twitter, and a lot of people were like, yes, thank you! So I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, let me know. If you have any other tips, please comment them. I'm sure me and a ton of other people and persons